Welcome, and thank you for viewing this presentation summarizing the information provided during a recent Coffee Talk series co-hosted by the Center for IDEA Early Childhood Data Systems and the Center for IDEA Fiscal Reporting, titled Using American Rescue Plan Act Funding to Improve Part C and Part B 619 Data Systems. The series was intended to serve two main purposes. First, it was intended to provide an opportunity for state Part C and Part B 619 staff to discuss allowable data system related uses of ARP funds and share information about the types of data system improvements they are considering. Additionally, it was intended to bring technical assistance staff from DaSy and Cypher together with state staff to review pertinent resources to assist with data system improvement efforts. In general, the series helped to set the stage for deeper dive discussions and presentations to be held during upcoming events, such as the IDEA Fiscal Forum in March. Key topics addressed during the series were how to plan for sustainable data system initiatives, permissible uses of federal funds and associated requirements, characteristics of high-quality Part C and Part B 619 data systems, and considerations for planning to undertake data system enhancement or build projects. With the availability of ARP funding, IDEA programs across the nation are eager to capitalize on the opportunity to improve their data systems. When planning for the use of these one-time funds, it is first important for staff to fully understand the basics of the fiscal reporting requirements set forth in IDEA. Three key resources to assist staff with interpreting these requirements are Cypher's Quick Reference Guide on the use of IDEA Part C funds, OSEP's FAQ on prior approval, and OMB's guidance on administrative requirements, cost principles, and audit requirements for federal awards. In the U.S. Office of Special Education Programs' recent analysis of state budgets submitted with ARP funding requests, they noted that justifications accompanying many of the proposed amounts for data system improvements did not adequately describe what the state aimed to accomplish with the changes, how the changes were going to be implemented, for example, a software purchase or the purchase of hardware and other technical equipment, how stakeholders were involved in the process for deciding what was needed, and how the data system work was expected to improve services and ultimately outcomes for children with developmental delays and disabilities and their families. A collection of resources published by the statewide longitudinal data system state support team titled Total Cost of Ownership highlights key considerations for how to quantify the total related investment into a data system from the project, operations, performance, information, and funding perspectives. Defining total cost of ownership is useful for showing the true value of a data system to stakeholders, and thus an important piece of data system sustainability planning. Thinking long-term is critical to the success of any data system enhancement or build initiative, as it is imperative that the system continues to operate after initial funding for the project has ended. To sustain a high-quality data system, a state needs to ensure that sufficient fiscal and human resources are available over time, that key state and local leadership and other stakeholders support the system, that the data available in the system are widely used and intended users know how to use them, and the system can address the state's evolving information needs. Deciding to undertake the development of a new data system or to enhance an existing one is a major commitment. To better understand what is involved in the process, Part C and Part B 619 staff are encouraged to review a few key related DaSy resources. First, an important resource for states to utilize is the DaSy Data System Framework for IDEA Early Childhood Data Systems. The framework is composed of 6 subcomponents: purpose and vision, stakeholder engagement, system design and development, data use, data governance and management, and sustainability. The resource and related self-assessment are intended to enhance the capacity of Part C and Section 619 staff to understand the characteristics and capabilities of a good state data system. With this knowledge, they can more successfully lead or actively participate in data system development efforts, as well as use their systems to comply with federal reporting requirements and answer important program and policy questions. Better data systems enable Part C and Part B 619 programs to work more efficiently and effectively toward improving outcomes for the young children and families their states serve. While the entire framework is helpful, the system design and development subcomponent of the framework is particularly helpful when initiating and planning for system enhancements or new builds. Two other key DaSy resources address the process of developing a new system or enhancing an existing system in the context of a life cycle. The cycle begins with initiation, after the need or needs for the change or system have been identified and the initial plans have been laid. Initiation creates the foundation for the other phases: requirements analysis, design, development, acceptance testing, and finally then deployment. Moving into maintenance and evaluation phases can trigger recommendations for further enhancement or improvement, which then returns to the beginning of the cycle. The first key considerations resource shown here provides guidance for Part C and Part B 619 staff who have identified the need to develop a new data system or make major enhancements to an existing system. It presents the considerations as a series of questions to help guide staff through the initiation and planning process. The next resource explains the importance of clearly communicating and documenting program needs and desired uses of a data system in the form of written business requirements. Business requirements frame the system functionality, including how it will handle and store data. They are essential for describing what must be delivered to provide value to the Part C or Part B 619 program, and in turn, the children and families served by the program. Developing good, sound business requirements takes strong collaboration among programmatic and technical professionals. Discussions around requirements typically fall into 4 categories. Functional requirements are those that affect business processes and include things like desired features, interfaces, and user roles and permissions. Technical requirements are those that affect the system's infrastructure, such as hosting and security. Operational requirements relate to the ongoing support for the system, such as maintenance and warranty. Transitional requirements affect changes in implementation of the system, such as needed data migrations from legacy systems or changes in vendors and hosting. Part C and 619 staff should not expect to have to contribute technical knowledge to the requirements gathering and documentation process, but they should be prepared to clearly articulate what they need the system to do from a programmatic standpoint and how they want to be able to use it. Again, business requirements are what must be delivered to provide value. System-specific features and functions are how to deliver, satisfy, or meet the what's of business requirements. This next DaSy resource is intended to support Part C and 619 programs with identifying functions desired or needed when developing a request for proposals for a new data system, as well as reviewing an existing state data system for possible enhancements. System functions can be grouped into categories, such as document management and referral and eligibility. But keep in mind that a given system function may actually span multiple categories. Therefore, it is important to consider related content from multiple categories when considering any one content area. Participants of the CoffeeTalk series shared their ideas with one another about the types of functions they were considering or already starting to plan for improving about their Part C and Part B 619 data systems. These included functions in the categories of billing, case management, parent portal, and reporting, among other things. The CoffeeTalk sparked many ideas for participants and also reiterated the fact that data system work is typically time-consuming and can often be quite complex. But remember that you are not alone. Please do not hesitate to contact DaSy for technical assistance on the topics covered in this presentation, including other opportunities to connect with State Part C and Part B 619 leaders around data system improvement initiatives. If your questions or support needs are more fiscal in nature, we will work directly with Cypher to get you the right assistance. Additionally, DaSy and Cypher will be collaborating again to host a session at the upcoming IDEA Fiscal Forum in March, titled Early Intervention Data Systems for Fiscal Needs. The session will provide more detailed information specific to funding and expenditures associated with enhancing or building high-quality IDEA early childhood data systems. We encourage you to attend the session or review the materials posted online afterwards. Thank you for watching. Note that a list of related resources is provided at the end of this presentation. Please take a moment to check them out in the file uploaded with this recording.